Hey, that's not rubbish.
Hey guys, it's Lexi, and this is That's Not Rubbish, the one and only podcast where we talk to cool people who are turning trash into cool things. And I'm not sure if you guys knew, but it's March 18th, meaning it's Global Recycling Day, the Christmas of the upcycling religion. So we're doing something a little different today, a little fun. I have with me not one, but two upcyclers, Miss Julia George from Something Made Custom
Yes, hello.
and Marjurie, aka MarjurieMadeThis.
Hello, hi.
You may remember Julia from a previous episode. She's been on back in like October. She is like the queen of patchwork sweat set Girl Scouts fashion show queen, and it is such a pleasure to have her back on the show. We'll have to check in and see what she's been up to.
Yes, we
Yeah,
will.
yes, we will. And then fresh face on the pod, Miss Marjorie. If you follow the TNR Instagram, you've definitely seen some of her creations. She's been my latest obsession, honestly. Really, really unique pieces. And it's always fun, watching it, like Marjorie kind of hone in on some signatures while also like experimenting. So we'll have to hear about how that's been going, your story, your roots, your inspo, everything.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you. I'm a newbie here, so I can't wait to tell everything. Yeah.
Come to think of it, both of you guys are kind of patchy, scrappy girls. My favorite kind of girls, but both kind of dabble in the patchwork, you know?
We love a patchy girl. We really do.
We do.
Well, yeah.
But most importantly, I've gathered the troops and got the girls together to tackle a topic that I've been wanting to talk about for a while. To kind of give some insight on how to talk about sustainability with friends. It's Women's Month, and women make up about 80% of the fashion industry behind the scenes and as consumers. So we got to support each other, look out for each other.
Mhm.
But we all have those friends who have, although we love them, they have shopping habits that just make us cringe and we wish we could change them for the greater good. But it's no fun like scolding or like momming your friends. Like no one wants to be like that friend. So we'll kind of find like some nice, chill, natural ways to kind of immerse our friends into our worlds and just kind of show them a more ethical lifestyle because that's what good friends do, that's what we're for. So we're gonna do a little bit of brainstorming and hear about how you guys like have some of these conversations with your friends, how you encourage your friends to be more conscious and kind of, shared your worlds with the ones that maybe kind of haven't entered it as naturally if you guys haven't gotten the calling that we have gotten.
Mhm.
Ugh. Follow the light. But first, some good news. Drum roll, please. Thank you, Marjorie. Okay, I found this initiative on Instagram a little bit ago, and I thought it was super cool. I really want to see where this goes in the future. 2 words, mango leather.
Mango leather.
Yes, yes, yes. Crazy. We are not playing anymore. This is a company in the Netherlands that found a way to make leather without plastic or animal skin, but with mangoes. I know.
Mangoes being my favorite fruit. This is fantastic.
Literally. It's crazy. It's a brand called Fruit Leather Rotterdam, and they find mangoes that, would have been that have gone bad, and they turn it into like a leather like material by mashing the mango into a puree, adding additives to strengthen it, placing it on like a sheet, and then adding this kind of protective glaze over the mashed mango once it's dry. So interesting process, lots of good benefits, less toxic chemicals, less animal abuse, and we're saving a lot of wasted food. But
Exactly.
I wonder if it like the mango leather tastes or smells.
You want to taste the leather?
Is that weird?
I'll be scared too, but
But I'll do it.
you do it. Great.
It's like those dried fruits. You know how they make that dried fruit skin and it's like you just like eat it?
Mhm.
It kind of is like the same thing.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't like, I don't know.
They're cousins.
They're cousins.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're related. They're in the same family.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. Like, I hope it catches on because it is one of those things that when you first hear it, it's like, what?
That'd be really cool. That'd be very like revolutionary for sure.
Absolutely. I see a lot of cool, like plant-based leather products and alternatives now, which this is probably the coolest one I've heard, but there's a lot of the other ones out there. Yeah,
Mhm.
Definitely my favorite. I like this one.
it's my favorite. I mean, yeah, thanks a lot, Fruit Leather Rotterdam and the geniuses behind the idea. Much love. I'll put the link in the description. But let's get into it. Miss Julia, it's been a few months since you've been on the pod, but just like we left you 5 months ago, you're getting ready for another fashion show. Spill.
Mhm.
Where is it at? Give us the deets.
Oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you. So my last fashion show was a part of New York Fashion Week. And while that was fun and dandy, I've been really wanting to tune more into my roots because I'm a New Jersey native and I just love my home base so much. And I love to kind of give back to my home base. And I've done my research on my statistics, and New Jersey is my top selling state, which is we go die hard. We ride or die over here. I don't know what it is, but I love it. So for this fashion show, I'm very excited to have a homegrown theme with it all. So my fashion show is going to be in Long Branch, New Jersey. It's hosted by a local organization called Space of Balance. And all of the looks that I've created are only using materials that I've sourced within New Jersey, which I think is really cool because sometimes I source out of state, I'll order online on like Depop or something like that, but I made sure to only use materials from New Jersey. And on top of that, all of my models are like people from my personal life. So friends, family, kids I grew up with. So it really plays into that like homegrown aspect of like giving back to the people who have brought me to where I am. And I think that's really cool.
That's amazing. That's so like full circle and just circular, you know, just
The circle that keeps circling.
the circle that keeps circling, the Julia George that keeps giving, you know.
It's just like an homage because I'm such a giving person. And like, if you lift me up, I want to lift you up 10 times higher. And I just love to do things like this.
That is honestly so amazing. That is so cool. Are there any models that like you went to high school with but like didn't talk to for a while and you like invited them into the show or like things like that? Are they all like close friends?
I have about 2 to 3 really close friends. And one of the models I was like preschool friends with. We were like so tight knit for a while and then we kind of grew apart.
Mhm.
So like a lot of them I haven't spoken to in years. There are a few from high school that I didn't quite talk to as much as I would have loved to. So it's also kind of going through that like, when you're out of high school for years and you start to rekindle some friendships from high school, it's also that playing into it as well, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Julia George, woman of the people. That's really cool. And I think that's going to connect with like who wouldn't eat that up? Like if you're a local and you love your city, like you're going to eat that up. Absolutely. And you're going to make that's a pretty direct impact that you're showing them like what happens on a smaller scale, but also they can imagine what's happening on a bigger scale, with all the different communities like contributing to waste and also consumption. So
Yes.
thank you. That's great. Yeah. So what is the collection looking like? Inspiration, materials, what we got?
So I used a lot of different materials this time around. I know for my New York Fashion Week show, I put a lot of pressure on myself to sort of create a certain style of items and I thought would appeal to absolutely everyone. And it kind of gave me a more like bland look than I would have loved looking back at it now. So I kind of went out of the box by a landslide with this. I did a lot more crazier pieces. I did a lot of different styles that I've never done before. So it was really a challenge for me, but in the best way possible.
Anything for New Jersey?
Anything from my state, anything.
So I'm a newbie. I actually just graduated high school last year.
Yeah.
So I'm 19. So I kind of actually I know a little like fangirling right now, but like I wonder if you wanted to like I kind of want to be where you are right now, and I wondered if you could give me some advice like how would it be appropriate to like start these fashion shows? How young can I start? What should I do? How to get on them? How to network? Like just some like, I know that's a very broad question, but like I would just love some sort of advice that you would love to give me. So
Oh, that brings me back because I was 19 when I started this.
I'm a little baby, I know.
I understand what it's like to be so young. And I mean, I'm still like decently young. I'm turning 22 this year. So I can't be like, I'm so aged and grown and I just know everything. But I understand the pressures of being so young and doing what you're doing, and being taken seriously and networking with people. Because it can be tricky to network as someone so young, because a lot of people in the game that we admire and we want to work with tend to be in like their 30s or older.
Yeah.
And it can be hard to be taken seriously by people like that. So I personally, I started out like really channeling into my community. So I did mostly sell to like my hometown, and it was a networking of that sense. And then I kind of expanded into my own little nook of like patchwork reworker girlies, and it was all like people within my age range. And from there, I just kept going down and down and down. And my last fashion show was hosted by Flying Solo, which is a company specifically for highlighting the small independent artists that aren't able to produce their own fashion show. So it's definitely finding things that like are more catered to what we do. And like I found sustainable fashion shows, and I found sustainable festivals, and it's like we're still finding that niche little community that we can fit ourselves into and grow from there. Because I feel like a lot of people might miss the ball when it comes to like shooting high, but shooting into a broad of a spectrum, where I think it's important to like settle yourself into your niche and your community first and then build from there.
Yeah. Yeah. Find your people and just like win them over. Like,
Yes,
win them
yes.
over.
And it'll just keep coming and coming and coming.
Okay, great.
That's cool. That's a good question though. That's what I was gonna ask, like any advice for people getting into fashion shows, because it's just kind of the dream, you know. It's why everyone starts getting into fashion, because you want to see it come to life and you want to see it make sense, whether it's like in real life or whether it's like in the creative fashion world. So yeah, you're awesome, Julia. Thanks for that. That was cool. Yeah.
Amazing advice. Amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So it sounds like the fashion show world is treating you right.
I'm loving it. I'm eating it up. I'm definitely into the more editorial style when it comes to pieces. So it's treating me good. I'm doing good.
Yeah, how are you balancing like the editorial versus your usual style? Because you make like the patchwork sweat sets, and if it were up to me, sweat sets would be on the runway all day long. But it's not technically considered editorial. So like, I guess it's probably fun to kind of get to do both.
It is. It's very creatively like relieving almost, because it's the one thing that keeps me from facing a sort of creative burnout that a lot of artists face, because obviously it's hard to like create your hobby into a job, and that can cause a lot of people to start to dislike their passion and feel burnout from what they're doing every day. But to have those little side projects that you just do whatever you want and get you super excited to come into the office the next day, that's what really keeps me going.
Exactly. That's what we talked about last episode, and you're so right.
It's like a hobby alongside your hobby almost.
Living the dream. You really are. Good for you. I'm proud of you. And it's okay, Marjorie. It sounds like you see your pieces on a catwalk in the future. You're into that?
Yeah, I actually did like two fashion shows, but it's like a school production fashion show, like a high school production.
I gotta start somewhere. I gotta start somewhere.
Gotta give credit where it's due. That's still something.
And so many people don't do that just because like they're nervous, they're scared, but you broke that wall, you know, and you did it early. So that's something in itself for sure. Yeah. So cool. So okay, let's get into it, Marjorie. Your pieces are very colorful, very girly, very youthful. I feel like they say a lot about you. Like I feel like I know what your brain looks like already. So tell us how you got started, because you are so fresh.
Fresh, new. So basically I got into sewing because, like during the pandemic, it was kind of really hard to be creative. Like at the time I was more of like a poet, sculptor type of route. But then as soon as like online school was transitioning into like in-person school during my junior year of high school, I thought I should try a new creative outlet. So on a whim, I just decided to join my fashions class, my sewing class. And from then on, I just started loving it. Yeah, I just been sewing. And like during high school, everyone would call me the fashion girl because I always posted like my sewing a lot. And like I'll be during study hall, like after I finish like my homework, I'll be hand stitching and sewing. So yeah, everyone just like casually just call me the patch girl, fashion girl, because I like to do a lot of patchworking. So I'm like
Yeah.
very pattern mixing, colorful with my type of work, and I like using embroidery thread instead of like regular thread to hand stitch because I just like to add that extra level of color. So yeah, I'm a very like, to describe my style, I'll be like maximalist, streetwear, pattern mixing, colorful type of girly when it comes to like my fashion sense when I'm making clothes. So yeah.
I brought the right girls together. This is it. Yeah,
Yeah.
this,
Yes, ma'am.
Keep going.
don't stop. Don't stop. So I guess like how did you, I mean, it sounds like you're just drawn to patchwork right off the start. Like no big story behind it. It was just gravitating towards it.
Well, actually, that's a well, not exactly straightforward. So I
Okay.
didn't really get into patchwork until like senior year because I did this collection for a scholarship that I tried to do, didn't get it, but like I tried to make a collection and I got all my friends to do a photo shoot and I just made this collection. I was so proud of it. And when I didn't get it, I got so upset. Like not angry, upset, just like I felt defeated because I put so much work into this. So to make myself feel better, I actually took that collection and used the fabric because I don't need the fabric anymore. I use the fabric and I
No.
started making patches out of it. And I'm like, oh shoot, I could just take a garment that I already made, didn't like. If I don't like it, I could just make a new one. So that's how actually I got into patchworking. So just took old garments that I ended up not liking and turning it into something I actually do love now. So
Love it. It's so simple upcycling, isn't it? Like if you don't
yeah.
like it. Like make yourself like it. No, it's
Mhm.
good.
Is this something that you want to keep like pursuing and see how far it can get?
Yeah, so I was actually the president of my fashion club my senior year
You're
of
not
high
messing around.
school.
You're like the Vera Wang of your fucking of your whole school.
Everyone relates to me like that, yeah.
He's
And
like, I was
so
oh.
everyone kept praising me and the delusion got to me and I just want to keep on doing it. So yeah.
The key to life, let the delusion get to you.
Yeah.
That's the mindset you have to have. That's the best mindset.
Yes.
It was a girl's best friend.
That's so true.
So I mean, where do you get your inspiration from? Because high school, I feel like it could come from anywhere, but also maybe a lot of the same places at the same time.
Oh, I was bullied in high school. Like when it came to like my fashion sense, because not a lot of people dress the way or like create the stuff I create because they're more like they always wear like athletic wear. Like most of my high school is mostly an athletic school. So it was really hard for me besides my sewing class to like relate to anyone in a
Yeah.
sense. So I kind of just kept doing what I'm doing, like ignore like the cheesiest line, ignore the haters, and just like kept creating. And I got a lot of support from my sewing class, and yeah, that's how I just kept going with this patchwork, colorful type of thing. But I'm also getting my inspiration from like Pinterest, like
Yeah, no, I can tell. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
No, you definitely look like my Pinterest feed at one point in my life.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, no, I do love your stuff and what like you're experimenting with. Well, first of all, you have like behind you, you have like your kind of signature, like the colorful patchwork sweater look, very scrappy chic, I think. But you've
Thank
also been
you.
experimenting a lot, you know, with like the denim pillows,
Mhm.
the button rings, and the weave
Mhm.
tie skirt is iconic. Yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. So what's your creation process like? Like, how do you think of this stuff?
Mhm. Well, I just kind of look around to see what I have because I actually got into upcycling. Like, I love the earth and all, but I got into it because, you know, it's to save money. So
Oh,
it really
very
helped
few
me.
people come on here and say, "Oh, I got into upcycling because I love the earth." No, everyone
Yeah.
has the P word. It's always the pandemic. They could like all
Mm,
the shops were closed. They had to play in their own closet, and yeah.
mm.
So you are not alone. No shame. No shame. Yeah.
Yeah, I came into upcycling because thrifting materials was like super like easy to get the amount of materials as I would if I got like 10 yards of fabric for like 100+ bucks. If I could just get 10 yards at the bins for like to like $2. So yeah, so that's how I really got into upcycling. Just mostly, I'm very ashamed of it, but to save money. So.
No shame, at least you're here, right? No matter how you got here. Yeah. Well, that's how it mostly goes too. It's just like what materials you have and what you can do with it. That's kind of the beauty of it. It's like a lot of serendipity. So I'd like to hear from both of you guys on this. What are some creations you're working on or materials you're looking to play with in the future?
I've been grabbing onto pillowcases lately because they have some really fun textures. That's what I'm feeling lately. That's what I want to work with.
Thank you for putting us on. It's one of those things where it's just kind of like a piece of fabric, so you don't have to like, it's not too hard to work with. Yeah, it's easy.
Yes, like I like the sham ones the best because they're so like decorative and in your face, so it's fun to work with.
And Miss Marjurie, what is on the horizons for you?
I'm actually great segue. I'm actually starting a collection right now. So there's this like photographer that was like taking photos of the fashion show last year in my high school, and I recently contacted her and I was like, hey, it'd be so cool if you and me did like a cool project together, and I get some of my old friends and some friends who are still in high school, and we could just do a photo shoot and I can make a collection. It'll be great content for you, great content for me. So yeah, that's why like if you've seen my like stories and like posts recently, I've been nonstop for like the past week and just cutting scraps. Just like so far I've been done with my denim scraps and I still have to do my my regular like patchwork I still have to do. But yeah, most of my collection coming up is just gonna be like more on the patchwork side, and which I course love. But yeah, recently it's just been a lot of denim, like everywhere I see. Like you don't see my room right now, but it's just completely so messy, if I'm just being honest with you, full of denim scraps. So that's what I've been working with recently.
Good. Hey, it's got to do something. And there's so many jeans in this world. So thank you for your service. Yes, that was a great segue, Marjorie. Thank you. Thank you. Let's get into it. Talking about sustainability with friends. And I want to clarify, these are like friends that don't think the way we do. Like it's not hard to get a thrift lover to the thrift store. And I also want to preface, it's okay to have friends like this. Like you're not going to cut off your twin flame because she shops Shein. Like if you want, I guess you can, but that's not what this is about. And then we have friends from like way, way back that just didn't hop on the thrift train like we did. No problem. No problem. But it is important to have these conversations and steer our friends in the right direction because, yeah, that's what friends are for. And who doesn't want a more unique, personalized, glorious closet? It's not fair for us to be gatekeeping this wonderful life with our friends while they are looking like everybody else and destroy the planet. The horror. Yeah, the overall goal is to not sound too bossy, preachy, or like attacking because nobody likes that. No. Yeah, so why don't you guys tell us, like, give us a background on your friends. Like, would you say they live similar lifestyles, view consumption similarly, or not at all?
But I have a couple of friends who who are so Shein obsessed. So only because the main point they make is it's cheap, and I try to convince them. I took one of them out thrifting and she absolutely loved it. So perfect topic for today's podcast. But yeah, she went thrifting like once or twice, but we went to the Goodwill bins and she absolutely loved it. Loved the bins because she was like, we were at the cash register. She was like, I got this much stuff for only this much on Shein. I could only get like 3 items. And I'm like, yeah, I told you.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like that is usually like the main argument is like price point and affordability, but I'm like, I just know people that say that have never walked into a thrift store because it's the same level, if not cheaper most of the time. Yeah, but that's a really good point, Marjorie. I do feel like, yeah, like for me, it is like the college and high school friends that I have to like kind of remind sometimes, and they just didn't get into thrifting or upcycling like we did, and that's fine.
It's definitely true that it's more so like our long childhood friends that we find have sustainability over like new friends.
Mhm.
And I think it's like I feel like sustainability issues definitely are
Mhm.
more relevant with like the younger generations, because I know everyone loves to dress themselves so fun and cute and fresh. And it's like you have this very quick paced culture and trends being like 2 months long, and everyone wants to hop on them for that 2 month period. So everyone has the newest stuff all the time. And that's why they feel so pressured into shopping fast
Yeah.
fashion. So it's like also kind of
Mhm.
getting that stigma out of your head, like, hey, it's okay to not follow every single trend. Like you can have your own style, and that's totally fine.
Exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, trend hoppers are the scariest people because they just want to buy a lot of stuff that will only last for like a good, realistically, like 4 months, and then it'll just go away. And then they have to keep buying more stuff to keep up with those trends.
If you do have friends that are more like influencer based, if they look at like their favorite influence for what to wear and like what's trending and what they need to buy right now, then send them more like sustainable influencers or like ones that wear more sustainable things. Like let them do the work. Like if that's their language, let someone speak their language, you know, or just slow fashion dupes, like of fast fashion trends. Like they're always on Depop. So you can like, it might take more work and more initiative, but you could like go out of your way and like send them like the Depop link to whatever they're looking for, thrift for them and stuff like that. Because you're right, it is like most of the younger generations, I feel like they have to buy everything all the time. And that is, I guess, the root of the problem, isn't it?
Yes, that's definitely it. It's definitely like, I think that certain generation, I feel like
Mhm.
it's the people that haven't quite found that like self style yet. So they're just kind of trend hopping and going with it. And they don't like, once you gain that sense of what your personal style is, it's so much easier to curate like your closet around that. And you're not buying a new thing every 2 weeks.
Yeah, and you're saving your friends a lot of money, you know. That's that's a big thing. Yeah. So I
Yes.
think like given what we've said so far, like I feel like rule number one of being an eco advocate, you know, is just like compassion for
Mhm.
people's situations, like whether it be like affordability or like they just don't know or they just haven't been exposed to it. They just simply don't have it, you know, they don't know the benefits of slow or the harms of fast. So sometimes you just need to tell them, like help them see the benefits of thrifty consumption rather than like all the bad things they're doing, you know. Yeah, it's definitely most effective to lead by example and with compassion.
Mhm.
Because I feel like it's safe to say, like in our friend groups, we are like the sustainable, eco, thrifty, hippie, creative friends. Like Marjorie was saying, she was a fashion girl in school. So own that, you know, make sustainable fashion your whole personality.
Exactly. That's it. Yeah. Then everyone's just going to know that, like, being around you, they have to have that certain standard to themselves, and they're going to do better.
You sound like my boyfriend. He says all the time, like he has to like, since I'm the fashion person in the relationship, he has to live up to that expectation. So that's what he says. But he doesn't have to impress me. But I'm not ashamed of him. But I also encourage him that he should dress like thrifted, more sustainable clothes. So it's not what he wears, it's about where he gets it.
Exactly. No, exactly. It's so true. And I feel like as the leading alpha, gorgeous woman that we are, you know, like our friends trust us. Like our friends trust us for this
Mhm.
information. Our friends like us. That's why we're friends, right? Like there's a level of respect. So I don't know. I feel like it is the best way to lead by example, you know, like dress up and all thrifted clothes look the best. Like they're gonna be like, oh my God, where did you get that? Like it's just gonna be a domino effect.
I agree. I think it's definitely like who you choose to like how do I word this? I think I mean obviously there's no better feeling than putting on a really good outfit and everyone asking you, "Oh my gosh, where is it from?" and you get to be like, "It's thrifted. Hello." I think even by that, it's almost like being your friend's own personal influencer. I know that's how I've definitely drawn
Mhm.
some of my friends to get into thrifting more, because they can see like we're physical examples of what you could find at the thrift store or what you can invest in sustainably from other brands.
Yes, well said. Your friend group's personal influencer. Someone's got to do it.
We're the it girl of our own friend groups.
Yeah, it's literally being the thrifty hippie creative friend is not easy, but I'll take it.
Wear it with pride.
And the more the merrier.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
But I mean, can you guys think of like a time or a situation where you had to kind of like check or like remind a friend that their shopping habits or I guess lifestyle in general is just not it? Like, how do you handle those situations where you're like, oh,
Well, it's very hard. It's not just clothing either. It's also just people who like buy stuff from like Temu. It's just like those quick, cheap stuff. It's kind of hard to
yeah,
tell them. I'm like, hey, it's kind of really bad for like for everything for you to be shopping at these sites, especially when it's someone older than me. I mean, maybe it's just a me thing. Like
yeah,
when someone like very older, like an adult, like yeah, just like someone older, because my manager where I used to work, she was just bragging to me of all the clothes she bought from Temu and Shein. And it's like it's very hard for her to say like, oh, you can do this, but it's like she's like 50. Like I can't really like
yeah,
it's hard to confront someone who's like who is quoted has more authority than you. It's harder for me personally to be like, hey, that's
yeah,
wrong, you know?
that's
I
fair.
think you have to be almost like strategic with it. I know that this is like a parenting style where instead of you scolding your kid, you'll say, like, okay, I could do this instead, and you kind of avert it or give an alternative. I think that could also be applicable like to this situation because if you have someone in your life who's like, oh my gosh, I just bought so many of these pieces from online and they were so cheap and look at this and this and that. And like if they show you a picture example, you could say, I just saw exactly that at the thrift store the other day and for $3. It's sort of like averting them and giving them an alternative. And I feel like that would be
Yeah,
more effective and like much easier in conversation than being like, no, you can't do that. Because it's definitely very scary to confront someone and be like, actually, you shouldn't be doing that. That's not good.
not fun either. Like, no one wants to be that person, but it's so hard for us to not say it
Mm-hmm.
sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do feel like giving like the little reminders is fine, like kind of like in the situations where Marjorie's in, but then like, because it's hard not to say it, and like even if they don't know, like they should be reminded. Like, I don't think anyone should be like super, super excited that they just spent $500 on Temu. Like, that's not something that you like, we should all celebrate. But yeah, like Julia's method is like the best kind of segue or transition, or it's kind of like, well, if you're doing this wrong, why don't you try doing this right? Because if you tell someone they're wrong, then they're just stuck back to the drawing board figuring out what to do right. And no one wants to go back to
Mm-hmm.
the drawing board. So you're kind of like giving them a solution.
Yeah.
Yeah, with me, it's sometimes it's food. Like I hate when like I go out to eat with my friends and they don't eat what they order. And I'll be pretty transparent about it. I'll be like, girl, you got to finish that. But if it looks really good, I'll quietly ask for a to-go box and I'll make it my leftovers. Like if you're not taking it home, I will. Someone's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's got to do it.
Oh my God. I can relate because every time when I go out and eat with my friends and they don't finish their food and I'm the one who finishes their food, I feel really like shameful. I'm like, is there something wrong with me?
No, but most of the time when I ask for the leftover box, like they need someone to do it for them. Like then they'll be like, okay, I guess I'll take it home, or like, oh, okay, like that was really smart. That was a good idea. So I feel like people just don't think of it sometimes. You just gotta think of it. You gotta just take the initiative and lead the
Mhm.
way, I guess. Like there's been so many times where I feel like I've saved food from going to the garbage by being the stingy little leftover girl. Yeah.
I'm a leftover girly too. It's okay.
Leftover girlies for the win. We're happier. Because people don't think of it, and that's fair. Like, there's so many things in this world to think about. Like, adding another one to the list is a lot, but it's important. So
It is.
you remind your friend over and over again, like the impacts, like the harmful impact of their shopping habits. You're compassionate, but they just don't seem to care. Fair enough. But what do you guys do besides lose your mind? Like, what do you do?
It's almost honestly, this is bad, but it kind of turns into like what I can't know won't harm me, or what I
Yeah,
know can't harm me. Because it's as you said before, obviously your friends who purchase $300 Shein hauls don't tell you anywhere because they know they're not going to get a good reaction. So it's almost like I'm in my own little bubble and I have peace of mind because I'm not being told. And I mean, you can influence as much as you want, but it does come down to their decision.
Exactly. Like I'm not the friend that people share their Shein like carts with anymore because they know. So like one time I was with all my friends, we were like in a cottage, like sharing a house, you know, and like I went to the bathroom. And when I came back from the bathroom, bless my friend Ari, she was like leaned over a pillow, like scrolling through her Shein cart, like quickly showing my friend like everyone she bought. And then when I came back from bathroom, like they put it away, you know, like it's like they're hiding it. But it's like that moment was their chance. It was their chance to show off the Shein shopping cart, and they took it. So it's like out of sight, out of mind. Yeah. Like, what am I gonna do? Yeah, sometimes the beauty of friendship is just kinda, like protecting the friendship by not talking about certain things or doing certain things that you just know are gonna upset you. Yeah.
I think, well, I personally had this friend, love her to death. If she's listening to this, she's gonna know I'm talking to her. She's not like this anymore. She's a thrifty queen now. But years ago, she would tell me that she's purchasing off of Shein and just tell me all of her fast fashion purchases. And I was like explaining to her how it's not ethical and how you're supporting really horrible practices. And her fire back for me was, well, nothing in this economy is practical and ethical anymore. And I just think that's such like a poor excuse to make yourself feel better when you know you're doing the wrong decision. And I think people like that, it's a little bit easier to not feel so guilty for cutting out of your life. And I do think it has to come down to personality more so, because if that's what they're saying about, their unethical purchases, that's also going to relay into other viewpoints that they have in life and other negative connotations almost. So it's like it has to be a very cookie cutter kind of person for me to really know, okay, they can't be in my life anymore. But it's not just, oh, they shop fast fashion. I can't associate with that at all, because obviously I still love my friends who do support that, even if I don't agree with that. But if they're like that kind of person who says, well, nothing's ethical anymore, I can do whatever I want, then it's like, ooh, let's not.
Like it's not fair. Like our friends don't. I do feel like that says like something about you to a certain extent, like what you're sacrificing and like the people, like the impact you're having. You just like don't care. Like it doesn't say nothing about you, right? Like, yeah, I do feel like exposure and winning them over in immersive, natural ways is the best way to do it. Like them seeing what their amazing, talented friends are doing and thinking, wait, this is actually really cool. Or wait, it takes that long to make something. That's a direct impact, Like taking your friends shopping. I think rule number, I don't know at this point, but show, don't tell. Like take your friends thrift shopping, take your friends to the farmers markets. It's just a fun thing to do with friends. You can find weird, ugly clothes and like you can laugh at. You can pick out cute outfits for each other, make each other try on weird stuff. Just play. Like introducing them to the world via play. That's how most of us got into it. Like y'all upcycling, cutting up your clothes and all that. Like that's play. And look what happens.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I've ever taken a friend to a thrift store and they've absolutely hated it. I think everyone in my life has loved it so much. So I don't see a low success rate here.
I took one of my friends at the time thrifting last summer at this point, and I think she only got like one top, but the fun part was just like looking at old vintage wedding dresses and tacky shirts that we love to think of like backstories where it came from. Is like grandma was on vacation to the Caribbean or something like that.
That is
And we
fun.
just like think about like the stories behind these tacky shirts, where it came from. So it's also the fun of it, not just buying the stuff, but just like the adventure of it is what you said. So I could also relate to that.
Yes, it's fun. Like, are you kidding me? There's so many things you can do. And if your friend loves fast fashion brands like Pretty Little Thing or Shein,
Yeah.
they'll love thrifting because that's half the stuff on the racks now anyways.
Oh my gosh, I was just about to say that.
Like doing things together is more fun, and then it doesn't feel like a chore or like a sacrifice. You're not like, oh, I can't shop anymore. No, you can just here, and you're gonna love it. But another really cute thing I've seen on TikTok, and I think like it's girlhood to its core, is thrifted presents. Like I have these two long distance best friends that are on my feed quite often, and every Valentine's Day they'll send each other like a box of thrifted goods that they've been collecting for each other because they know each other so well. It's so sentimental, it's so personal. Like who wouldn't love a box full of things that your best friend like thought of you while seeing like birthdays, anything. It's just the best, like little thrift hauls.
It's so sweet. I think it's so sentimental too, because it is like, you go to the thrift store and you see things that remind you of that
Yeah.
person. And it's so like, it's also much more bang of your buck. If you were to buy that brand new, you could probably only afford to get them like 2 or 3 things. When it's at the store, it's like a big
Yeah.
haul for
It's
them.
like think of like the first time you went thrifting. Like it kind of like I wish I could go thrifting for the first time again. And it's like all these little things that are just there for you. Like it's almost like fate. Like how did the universe know that I needed this? And that's kind of like what that would feel like, like your best like friend coded box of you. Like that's the best way to get a non-believer to see the gems that they could be thrifting, I feel like.
That's so true. I
Yeah.
never even thought of that.
Yeah, I feel like the best way to do it is to just pretend like all your friends love thrifting and just treat them that way. Like give them thrifted everything, take them thrifting all the time. Like just pretend until
Mhm.
they join along. Yeah.
They fall in line.
Yeah, clothing swaps, styling each other, like it's all fun. It's all girlhood. I will
Exactly.
tag some of these examples in the description, like the TikToks, and you guys can even start by sending it to a friend and being like, "Oh my God, we should do this." Like things like that.
I always send my boyfriend, because we're long distance, or like my friends like reels of like, oh, we should do this someday. We have to do this. Oh, it's like anything like thrifted, or like every time when I visit my boyfriend in like New York, we always go like once in a while. Um, we always make like an itinerary of like all the thrift shops we have to go to. And actually, when we were going on this like one trip in New York, it's like recently, I think actually last month, um we were going on the thrifting itinerary, and he saw this thrift store. It was just like, oh, thrift, and it was like an arrow pointing to like a spot that I've never seen, and he's like, we should go here. And I'm like, he's like, babe, it's the adventure of it. And we went in there, and have you guys watched Next in Fashion? Any of you? Both of you? One of you?
No, I don't think so.
Netflix. It's on Netflix, and when we went in there, I fangirled because one of my favorite fashion designers from that show was there, and I started like freaking out. And I was telling my boyfriend, I'm like, I'm too shy to go, too shy to go. Should I say hi? I'm not sure. And then we went out of the store. I bought like one $5 thing, and he's like, okay, no, you can't waste this opportunity. So I ended up being really shy, and I told the store person, I was like, hey, can it's okay if I could take a photo with her? And then we ended up taking a photo, and we had like a good chat, and I asked for advice and stuff like that. But see, thrifting just doesn't have to be about clothes. It could be the adventure.
The
So
hidden gems of it all, the hidden gems.
I want to see the picture. You have to send us the picture. I want to see that.
Link in the description.
Okay.
That is sweet. Can we date? Can we date and go on thrifting itinerary trips? That sounds like the dream.
Let's go.
yes,
No, that'd be really cute.
I forced him to go thrifting with me, but he ends up liking it. So
A little too much, a little more than you do sometimes. Yeah. But yeah, in the end of the day, your friends trust you. It's not easy being an inspiring little role model, but we are friends with these people because we love them for who they are. We need to be
Mhm.
considerate of their situations, and assure them that like sustainability isn't an all or nothing thing. Like I'm not asking you to throw out your light bulbs and your laptops and like everything you
Yeah.
know and love, but there are small tweaks that can be made for the greater good. And we need to speak their language to show them those things. Highlight the benefits and don't frame it as a chore or a sacrifice. You know, Thrifting, enhance your closet, girl. You deserve it. Wasting food, your leftovers are your lunch plans tomorrow. Yay. Put your friends on, respectfully. No, but this was a good chat, ladies. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you, actually.
Thank
us.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a wrap. Happy Global Recycling Day today and every day.
Woo.
This was a lot of fun. Same time next week. At the big.
I'm down.
I gotta hit up the East Coast.
Oh my gosh.
Julia, always a pleasure. I love you. I love all that you do. And you too, Marjorie. Cannot wait to see what you do and watch you grow and grow and grow and grow.
Yes.
I'll link, both girls' Instagrams in the description. So please check them out. Please.
Thank you so much for having me on. It was a pleasure as always. We love being your sustainable thrifting besties, and go thrift after this.
And thank you. I'm the newbie here, so I'm really glad you invited me to my first podcast interviewing thingy session. It was actually really fun. I was nervous at first, but I enjoyed having a talk with you guys. I loved it.
But I will also link our TNR socials in the description so you guys can grace your feed with resurrected garments and creative, crazy transformations all day long. If you're enjoying the show and the platform, feel free to consider a little donation. So many chats to be had, upcyclers to meet, and projects to come. And remember to keep your friends close, yet your Shein shopping friends closer. Until next time, that's not rubbish. Bye.
Aww.
We love you, Lexi.
We love
Oh,
you.
I'm gonna cry.